All right, if you're a Java dev, you already know this. Building the app, that's just part one. Part two is making sure it's actually secure. So today, we're diving into how you can build applications that are basically fortresses. And our guide for this is the awesome book, Spring Security 6 Recipes by Massimo Nardone.
So, picture this. You've poured hours, maybe weeks into your app. The code is beautiful. The features are amazing. But is it safe? That's the one question that really should keep you up at night. Because let's be real, in today's world, every single app out there is a potential target. If security wasn't on your mind from the very first line of code, you're already playing catch-up.
Okay, so here's the game plan for today. First, we'll talk about the big security problem every app faces. Then, we'll bring in the hero of the story, Spring Security 6. I'll show you how to go from basically zero to secure in, like, minutes. Then we'll get into making it your own. And finally, we'll wrap up with why this whole framework is such a big deal right now.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and start with the hard truth. Every single web app is floating in an ocean of unseen threats. Seriously. It's never a question of if you'll be a target, it's just a matter of when. And that's why you got to think of every line of code you write as needing its own personal bodyguard.
And these are the bad guys we're up against every day. You've got stuff like cross-site scripting, XSS, where some attacker slips malicious code into your site for others to see. Not good. Or cross-site request forgery, CSRF, which is super sneaky. It tricks your users into doing things they never meant to do. Look, these aren't some far-off exotic threats. This is the daily grind. It's a constant battle, which is why having a solid security framework is not just a nice-to-have, it's absolutely 100% necessary.
So what's our move? How do we fight back against all this? Well, that brings us to the solution. And I love the way our sourcebook puts it. Think of Spring Security 6 as a chef's secret ingredient. It's this amazing collection of proven, battle-tested recipes for locking down your apps.
So what is it, really? At its heart, Spring Security 6 is all about two things: authentication, figuring out who you are, and authorization, which is all about what you're allowed to do. The beauty of it is that it's super powerful right from the get-go, but it's also designed to be totally customizable for whatever you need. And just look at this list. This is why it's such a modern beast of a framework. It requires Java 17, so it's built for the new stuff. It fully embraces ideas like zero trust, that never trust, always verify mindset for every single request. It's got updated support for OAuth 2.1, a brand new centralized authorization manager. This isn't just some minor update, folks. This is security completely reimagined for the challenges we face today.
Okay, now, this next part is where things get really cool. You might be thinking, wow, that sounds powerful, but it must be a nightmare to set up. Nope. The magic of auto-configuration in Spring Boot just changes everything. Honestly, you're not going to believe how simple this is. This is it. This is the whole recipe. You just pop over to start.spring.io, you pick your settings, Maven, Java 17, whatever you need, then you add just two dependencies. Two! Spring Web and Spring Security. Hit that Generate button, download the project, and you're done. That's it! It's so simple it almost feels like cheating.
And boom, just like that, your entire application is secure. I am not kidding. The second Spring Boot sees that Spring Security dependency, it just goes to work. It automatically locks down all your endpoints with basic authentication. It even whips up a user and a temporary password for you. We're talking a solid baseline of security across your whole app with literally just a couple of clicks. Okay, so that default lock is awesome for getting off the ground. But let's be real, no two apps are the same, right? So now we get to the real power of Spring Security, how flexible it is. It's not some rigid, one-size-fits-all lock. Think of it more like a toolkit, a box of Legos that lets you build the exact security setup that your app needs. And this comparison just lays it all out. On the left, you've got the default setup, an auto-generated login page, a single user in memory. It works. But look at the right. This is what you can do. A custom login page with your own branding. Clearly defined roles like user and admin. You can hook it up to a real database. And the best part, you're not writing tons of code. Usually, you just configure a simple Java bean to set up these super specific rules for different parts of your app. This is where you really make the security fit your business, not the other way around. Which brings me to this awesome quote from Massimo Nardone, the author. Sometimes, a few lines of code convey more than 1,000 words. And that's so true here. We're talking about the big ideas, because the actual code you write to do all this powerful customization, it's often surprisingly short and clean.
A few lines of configuration can set up some incredibly robust security rules.
And that brevity, that power in just a few lines of code is so important because it means the benefits go way beyond just being a neat tool for developers. So let's zoom out. Let's talk about the business case for this. Why should you or your company actually spend time upgrading to or adopting Spring Security 6?
Well, here's the bottom line. This isn't just about getting the latest shiny object. You get real, tangible benefits. We're talking better performance because it uses modern Java features. You get enhanced security that's actually built for today's cybersecurity landscape. Your job as a developer gets easier because the new APIs are way simpler to use. And maybe the biggest one of all, you're future-proofing your work. You're making sure your app stays compatible with what's coming next in the Spring and Java worlds.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. You know, the world of cybersecurity doesn't sleep. New threats are popping up all the time. Spring Security 6 gives you this incredible modern kitchen full of the best ingredients. So the real question to leave you with is, as the threats out there keep changing, how are you going to adapt your security recipes to keep your apps safe?